Scottish colonization of the Americas was an ambitious yet often overlooked chapter in the broader history of European expansion. While Scotland played a significant role within the British Empire, it also made independent efforts at colonization before the 1707 Act of Union with England. These efforts, however, were largely unsuccessful due to poor planning, harsh conditions, and resistance from rival European powers. Despite these challenges, Scots later became highly influential in British colonial expansion, particularly in North America and the Caribbean. Early Scottish attempts at colonization. Nova Scotia and the Barony of New Scotland, 1620s. One of the earliest Scottish colonial efforts was the establishment of Nova Scotia, Latin for New Scotland, in present-day Canada. In 1621, Sir William Alexander, a Scottish nobleman, was granted a charter by King James VI of Scotland, James I of England, to colonize the region. The colony faced difficulties from the start, with harsh winters and a lack of resources making settlement nearly impossible. Additionally, French interests in the region, particularly their strong presence in Acadia, made it difficult for the Scots to establish control. By 1632, Nova Scotia was handed over to France under the Treaty of Saint-Germain-en-Laye, marking the end of this first Scottish colonial experiment. The Darien scheme, 1698 to 1700, a costly failure. The most famous and disastrous Scottish colonization attempt was the Darien scheme, an ambitious plan to establish a trading colony in Central America. In 1698, the Company of Scotland launched an expedition to settle on the Isthmus of Panama, aiming to create a trade route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The Scots established New Edinburgh in the Gulf of Darien, modern-day Panama, but the colony faced severe problems. Disease and harsh climate, malaria, dysentery, and yellow fever devastated settlers, killing many within months. Lack of supplies. Poor planning left the colony without adequate food or resources. Hostility from Spain. The Spanish, who controlled much of Central and South America, viewed the Scottish settlement as a threat and launched attacks to drive them out. Abandonment by England. Despite Scotland's union with England through a shared monarchy, English merchants and government officials refused to support the colony, fearing it would disrupt their own trade interests. By 1700, the colony was completely abandoned, with most settlers dead or returning to Scotland in disgrace. The failure of the Darien scheme financially crippled Scotland, leading to political instability and increasing support for the 1707 Act of Union, which merged Scotland and England into Great Britain. Scottish influence in British colonial expansion. Though independent Scottish colonization attempts failed, Scots played a major role in British colonial efforts after the Union. Large numbers of Scots migrated to British-controlled territories in North America, the Caribbean, and South America, leaving a lasting impact. North America. Scots played a crucial role in settling Canada and the American colonies, particularly in regions like Nova Scotia, the Carolinas, and Georgia. Many Scots became fur traders, soldiers, and farmers, helping to expand British control. After the Highland clearances, forced evictions in Scotland during the 18th and 19th centuries, many displaced Scots migrated to North America, particularly to Canada and the Appalachian regions of the United States. Scottish influence can still be seen in the names of towns, cultural traditions, and even legal systems in areas with strong Scottish heritage. The Caribbean. Many Scots migrated to the Caribbean, particularly to Jamaica, Barbados, and Grenada, where they worked as plantation owners, merchants, and overseers in the transatlantic sugar and slave trade. Some Scots became wealthy through trade and administration, leaving a complex legacy of both economic success and involvement in the exploitation of enslaved Africans. South America. Scottish merchants and engineers played a role in British economic ventures in Guyana, Argentina, and Chile, particularly in agriculture and trade. In the 19th century, Scots were involved in railroad construction and cattle farming in South America, contributing to local economies. Legacy of Scottish colonization. Although Scotland's independent colonial ventures largely ended in failure, Scots had a profound impact on the history of the Americas through their involvement in British imperial expansion. From fur traders and soldiers in North America to plantation owners in the Caribbean, Scots helped shape the development of colonial societies. Today, Scottish heritage remains strong in regions like Nova Scotia, Canada, the Appalachian U.S., and parts of South America, where cultural traditions and place names still reflect their influence. Despite the catastrophic failure of the Darien scheme, it played a crucial role in shaping Scottish history, contributing to the union with England and Scotland's later global impact through the British Empire.